Okay, I think we're fine now. Right, let's get underway. Okay, I'm just going to share the screen. So you can adjust your webcams on the right. Just click on the 3x3 matrix and you can reshape them to whatever size you'd like. Okay. David. Okay. So, welcome to Meet the Writer. It's me, Nicolas David Ngan, of Your Soul Contract Decoded. Charlotte had this bright idea end of last year Charlotte's our training coordinator at the Centre for Conscious Ascension, to have a more sort of relaxed webinar where book readers or potential book readers could just connect with me. We could talk about the book. So I thought we'd give it a try. So this is why we're here. So if you are guys who are interested attendees, you can come panelists to actually talk to us, but it's up to you. Or you can just allow you to talk from there as well. Or you can just message us on the chat and can answer questions. So the point of this is just to explore the following. Okay. So people seem to want to connect with me about the book. And this is also going to be Your Soul Contract Decoded, Discovering the Spiritual Map of Your Life, which we published quite a long time ago in 2013 now, but it's still going pretty strong. And you can generate your own free soul contract chart at soulcontractreader.com. And we're gonna talk about what it means. I've had COVID, so I may mute occasionally and cough. I'm getting better, but it's a long recovery process. So you know what's going on like right now. And I'm just going to talk a bit about the history of the system and how it works. Answer any burning questions you may have having read the book. And talk about the spiritual philosophy behind the book, which we haven't really talked about much on webinars. And then we'll go into how you can actually go deeper into the truth of this work to transform your own life and the life of others. That's sort of the basic idea. This is the first time we've run this, so we're not quite sure what's going to happen. So this is really for you. We'll just go with the flow of it. Okay. So I'd like to find out why you guys are here actually first, and that gives me some idea of how we can move forward here. So I'll say I'm here to just share more about this work with you guys in whatever way you need. I'm living southwest of London in England, and it's spring, so I'd like to hear where you guys are and what brought you here, what you'd like from this. Then we can sort of flow the next couple of hours into what you need. So if you want to chat, just wave at me. I'm just going to switch my camera on and off so I become focused again. Don't know why it does that. Yeah, or you can put it in the chat as well. So who would like to start? Because this is more a conversation we're having here.
I can if you want, David.
Okay, Andy, go for it.
So I'm kind of new to this. I'm just getting into my soul contract, and so I started to read your book. I'm not all the way through it yet, and I've done the diagram. I have a really good friend of mine who's deeply involved and has been for a number of years, and she and I have been discussing and communing about our souls and things, and so she's kind of helped me start towards this journey with the chakras and the soul charts. And so I'm here to learn more about it and see, you know, hopefully incorporate it into my life and do the positive things that need to happen.
Okay. And where are you, Andy? Where are you located?
I'm out of Atlanta, Georgia, the outskirts of Atlanta, not in the city, but that's the easiest way to say it. So in that area.
Okay. Is it snowing in Atlanta? Because you got snow behind you there.
That's actually Iceland. I was in Iceland right before the world decided we needed to shut down back in 2020.
Yeah.
And so that's a picture of a glacier in Iceland. So
yeah, looks a bit too cold to be Atlanta. All right. Okay. All right. Who would like to introduce themselves next?
I can go next. My name's Mary.
Yeah, go for it, Mary.
Hi. I'm from British Columbia in Canada. And your book, I bought it in 2017, I believe. And it jumped back out at me this week, actually. And I looked up and I just saw that you were on Facebook doing this. So I'm interested. I explored a bit of it back then and put it down. And I was surprised to see your book pop up on my shelf again for some reason. And yeah, that's why I'm here.
It has a habit of doing that.
Yeah.
It jumps off bookshelves and bookstores, and people have to put all the other books down and just take that book out of the shop. I've heard that story multiple times. It's got some sort of magic about it, I think. So,
yeah.
Well, we actually did a lot of magic in creating the cover. It has soul contract symbols, so actually the cover is actually attracting you to it. It's energetically pulling you in. It's done very deliberately, and the portal on the front of the book is designed to draw you into the energy. So it's no accident that it does that. So it was an interesting process developing that. So okay, who would like to introduce themselves next? Maria.
I'm still in Scotland. We're having a lovely spring day.
Yeah.
Cold inside. Yeah, speaking about your book, the same thing. There must be something to it, what you said about the cover, because I remember looking for general information about soul contract online before I knew anything about it. And I first found Soul Plans book, Blue Marstons, and I've bought it, and then yours popped out, so I bought it as well. And the rest is history. And I've done your practitioners level 1. So I'm here. I mean, I love soul contract, and I'm just taking every opportunity to learn more with my 12-3 in soul destiny.
Ah, the eternal learner. Yeah.
Eternal learner, eternal student, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I trained Blue, was one of my first teachers in 2003. And he's produced a more 3D version of it to make it more accessible to people just waking up. That's where he's coming from with his book. That's a major difference. Okay, John T, do you want to say hi? Seeing you're online, brave enough to show yourself. Haven't seen you for ages.
Hello, everyone. We're in Mexico.
Yeah.
Coming from Mexico. And it was a few weeks ago, I think. My mum just sent me the link, and I was like, oh, wow, yeah, this seems interesting.
Yeah.
Because I had a session with you a long time ago when I was in quite a crazy part of my life.
Yeah. When
I was 18. And I thought, yeah, why not like log on and see what's happening, I guess.
Okay. I see your mum's here as well, but she's...
and this is my wife, who's also super interested in all this stuff.
Hi, Nicolas. My name is Chantal.
Hello.
We're here in Mexico City. I've been hearing about your work for several years now, from Jyotish, from Avia. And I think I'm just in a path where I want to learn more about my soul contract and just my spiritual path in general. And I think this is a good webinar to start learning more. And I started your book as soon as Avia recommended it, and I've just been going through it like crazy, really enjoying every part of it and everything that resonates with me. So I'm looking forward to learning more.
Okay, nice to meet you.
So thank you.
You never told me about this, John T. This is new.
Nice to meet you.
Getting married. Congratulations. Avia, you got your microphone unmuted. Do you want to share something?
Well, I've always been searching for what my purpose is, and have been diverted most of my life through thinking I was responsible for my family and other things. And life gets in the way of actually doing what you're meant to be doing here. And finally retired, so I'm ready to start learning and teaching.
Cool. Cool. Thank you for sharing. Are you still in England?
No, well, kind of. I've moved to Guernsey,
Okay, that's sort of England.
which
I
is
guess.
Channel Islands, but it's
Yeah.
a beautiful place, and found a place where I can retreat.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
hopefully people will come and be peaceful here with me.
Yeah, hope so. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else who's just on the attendee list, you can message us on the chat and I'll read it out if you want. Or you can unmute your mic. Oh, Lauren's unmuted her mic. Okay, go on, Lauren.
Hi, everyone. I'm in Seattle, Washington. I just woke up a few minutes before this started, so not quite camera ready yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I first found your book in fall of 2020 when I was going through my own spiritual awakening. Sounds similar to what Shanti was saying at a different point in his life. And I have a linguistics background, so I remember I was taking the phonetic part of this very seriously. And I have a double-barreled last name, and in each last name there's like not a double letter like the CH, but like 2 F's in one and 2 L's in one. And I remember being like, okay, well, it only makes the sound once, so you're only going to count it once. And I kind of refound your book again just last month in January, and I went to the free software online, and I kind of forgot about that part of the process when I was doing it. So I just entered it double, and it those letters double, and I got very different answers. And I probably some stuff with the vowels as well. I probably changed because, again, I took those phonetics very seriously, the phonology, because I was like, this is my background. I know that this, just because it's spelled this way, doesn't have that, phonology necessarily. So I don't know, I'm definitely interested in learning a little bit more about how you look at that process, because I feel like maybe the first time I overthought it. Certainly I feel like the numbers I got the second time feel a little bit truer, but I definitely at some point want to schedule, a reading with you to get the professional take on these numbers, because I think sometimes in my new numbers, I'm also 12-3 soul destiny. So that constant learner, as Maria said as well. So I think sometimes my guides almost give me wrong information because it's the right lesson. It's just sort of like, you got there the wrong way, but if that's how you're going to get there, then it's okay, and we'll correct it later, So I'm kind of like, oh, what I have now, is it right, or is it still going to get corrected? So definitely curious about that, but that can be another time. But
You can
that's me.
Thank you. You can just enter your name exactly as it's spelled on the birth certificate. So is the one you're showing, the Lauren Jaffe O'Malley, is that your birth name?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, there's a middle name, Rose.
Or you're going into the middle name as well. Whatever's on the birth certificate, 99% of the time in English, you enter it as it's spelled.
Okay.
Into the software,
Perfect.
you don't have to worry about the phonetics for most English names. That's very simple. Hebrew has a good range of tolerance for the different way we say sounds in English. It's only if a name is significantly different, like, for example, in English, St. John, ST, then JOHN. In England, if it's a surname in England, it'd be St. John, which is quite significantly different. It has to be radically different from the way it's written. Then you have to do phonetics. Otherwise, you do it as written. So it's designed to be nice and simple.
Okay, well then the second set that I have is definitely right. So that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you've got 2 L's, you leave your 2 L's in there.
Yeah,
that's fine as well. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that clarification. I appreciate it.
All right. So is anyone else, like David, Honey, or Joanna, want to say hi? You can switch the sound on if you want, or just type in the chat. Otherwise, I'll continue. Joanna wants to say something. Hi, Joanna. Where are you?
Hi. I'm good. Yeah, I actually was recommended your book from someone that I'm quite close with. She's one of my mentors with like the Akashic records and everything, and she got a message from her guides or my guides to send me this book, which at the time I was really looking for some more clarification on my, purpose and karmic lessons and all this, why I'm here, why I incarnated at this time. And I loved it. And I've actually recommended to a few of my friends since then who I thought would be quite interested in it. And yeah, it was just absolutely fascinating. I'm also a 12-3, so it sounds like there's like 3 of us here.
All the talkers are here today. It's great.
Yeah. And yeah, I would just, interested to see, kind of even go a bit deeper into it. But I think it's a great book to always I feel like I keep going back into it, just every time I go into it, there's a new kind of lesson or something I take out of it. So yeah, happy to be here.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, it's a very in-depth system. I learned this in 1990 and sort of 30 odd years later, I'm still learning things about it. It's still making a profound difference to people. So yeah, you're just scratching the surface when you first read the book. Okay, does anyone else want to say hi? Heidi's a new one here. It's Heidi. So Heidi, if you want to talk to us, you need to come on video if you feel you don't feel shy, or you can just speak. I've given you a chance to speak there if you want. Or anyone else there. Heidi, hi.
Hi, I'm Heather. I'm just here to kind of learn more information about my soul contract. I have a formal, I guess, kind of like meeting to go over it soon. And so I'm just here to kind of figure out like what my soul path is and like learn more information about everything. And I'm reading the book and I just find it all amazing. Sorry, I had to turn my speaker off because, or my screen off because it's interrupting with my signal. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Welcome. Anyone else and the attendees who want to share either on chat or switch your microphone on before we continue? No, you guys seem settled. Okay. All right. Let's get underway. So I'm going to share the screen. Right. And feel free to ask questions at any time. So this is very informal. We know why we're here now. Okay. Well, the other reason I'm here is to share this work with as many people as possible, because most humans have no idea why they're here on Earth, why they're alive. And it was sort of like me back in 1990. It was the beginning of my spiritual journey. Come from New Zealand originally. You might be able to pick up the accent. And I've been traveling around the world, Asia and Europe, and for a couple of years in the late 80s. And I picked up a brochure for a workshop called The Carousel of Growth, run by Frank Alper, who's the founder of this work. He channeled us through in the 80s. And I was living in Japan teaching English. And I got this brochure for this 7-day workshop in Phoenix, Arizona in January 1999. And this was sort of in 1989, I got it in the beginning of that year. And I knew I was going to go to this workshop. The magnetic draw was so strong. And I actually got to it in the end. And first time in America, so I had no idea how this whole workshop thing worked. And I walked into this, I think it was a Ramada Inn, walked into this big hotel conference room, and there were 30 other people, and they all looked really familiar, and they were at a soul level. And we had this week-long spiritual workshop in terms of learning how to heal and spiritual philosophy. And during that week, Frank was offering sessions, and I had a session with him with this work. He calls it the Spiritual Numerology of Moses. I renamed it for the way we do it, soul contract reading, to differentiate it from conventional numerology, because it's completely different in that it uses Hebrew, 22 Hebrew letters, which have 22 Hebrew numbers inherent within them to match the sounds of English. So whereas in most numerologies, conventional ones allocate numbers to the English alphabet, so it's quite different. So therefore you get a completely different reading at a very high level of consciousness that comes out of it. So he took my birth certificate name and he put it on a Star of David, and then he explained my entire life. And at that moment, my life completely changed. I said, Frank, I need to learn how to do this. So do you teach this? And he said, yeah, I'm teaching this in 6 weeks at the Carousel level 2. So I ended up staying longer in America than planned, visiting all the people I'd met on the workshop, and came back and learnt it in February 1990. And I brought it to England. And what happened there was that I started doing this sort of in the weekends, starting doing little readings to people in the weekend, and gradually learned how it worked. And then it's 1994, I was doing a normal corporate job at that stage. I started teaching it. I'd learned enough from doing lots of readings to start teaching it. And that's how the first teachers in Europe were trained. And then I left my corporate job in 97. I sort of had an epiphany one summer's day in a glass box in the city of London, realizing I can't do this anymore. I basically turned my corporate job into a part-time job and started doing this work 2 or 3 days a week. And that's how this got started. And about 6 months later, I left that corporate job and started doing this full-time, which was very challenging. Didn't quite know how to run a business. It took me quite a few years to learn how to do that. But got there, still here 20-odd years later, 25 years later. And I've been teaching this regularly, teach it a couple of times a year since that time. Probably, yeah, since 97, we teach at least two or three times a year. And to share this work, because it changed my life so profoundly, I wanted to share it with others and wake up as many people as possible, because my life got really organized, because Frank explained everything that I'm doing now back in 1990. So I just meant to focus on what was important, not all the distractions of my ego. So that's why I share this work, because it's a gift which completely changes people's lives for the better. We move away from literally driving around in the dark in a car with no headlights on, to actually switching the lights on and having a spiritual sat nav and knowing where we're going and knowing what the right things are to get there. And then this was developed with Ariel Hilaire, who we used to run the Centre for Conscious Ascension together for about 10 years, and we expanded the original work that Frank shared on his workshop based upon thousands of readings, and that's how the book came about. Frank gave me about 12 A4 or letter-sized pages, and that was it, and the rest he just talked about it. So the rest of it is based upon what he talked about and our expansion of the work into the current form to share with you guys. And I always wanted a book or a manual for a light worker arriving on Earth, and no one had that book, and so I thought I'd write it myself, which is why you have all the spiritual philosophy in there. So here's what you're here to do, and here's the background of how this place works, and here's how you get on with it. So that's why the book was written, to help as many light workers find out how to get on with their missions as quickly as possible. That's sort of the history of how it goes. And we went from being a little private session teaching business in London to now a global teaching business. So it reaches a lot of people. So I used to travel a lot, but now I work from home on Zoom and reach a lot of people, and it's really quite, it's not really a job, it's more just life, really, helping people wake up. This is how the system came about. Okay, so any questions on that so far, on the origins or history of that? Just wave at me or put it in the chat. No? Oh yeah, talk about how the book came about. That's a very important point. So in about 2011, my guidance team said, it's time to write the book. And I said, well, what book? I said, we need you to write the book about the soul contract reading work, to share it with a lot more people, because there's only so many readings I can give. We're probably trained 300 or 400 practitioners. Only so many readings they can give. They said, we have to reach as many people as possible as part of the awakening and the ascension process. So it's time to write the book. They were quite clear to me, like talking in my ear. And so I said, well, I don't know how to write a book. And so they said, we'll show you. So what happened was that I started to, they were channeling through me the ideas and the structure for this book. And I gradually started putting the basic ideas down of how do we explain such a complex system. And then I went to a writer's workshop. Well, I got the recording in the end because I couldn't actually go for some reason. I think my son, I was a single parent, my son had him that night, so I couldn't go to the actual meeting in person. But I got the recording, and Nick Williams, who writes a lot of books, he's in London. He invited me to. He sent me the recording, and then he said, well, we can meet up and we could help you put together this book. And so we sat down in a hotel lounge, and over about an hour, we did the outline for the book because he'd written a lot of them. He's got the core ideas out. And then I started fleshing out the book from there. And then he put me on to my publisher consultant, introduced me, and she was very enthusiastic about this. And she took the raw content I'd put down and helped me shape it to its current form and structure so it would make sense to a reader. And then she introduced me to Watkins Publishing. So it was all these doors sort of opened from the time my team started the whole process. And then she helped me put together a book proposal, which is like a business plan really for the book. And 3 days later, the head of publishing of Watkins called me and said, okay, we're going to publish this. So let's discuss contracts and stuff like that. So it happened really quick. Normally you wait months to hear from these people. It all happened very quickly. And then the book got out in the world, and it became an Amazon bestseller both sides of the Atlantic. So it was like there was a plan for this thing, which I had no idea of when I started it. I was barely making a living. And then Gaia TV got hold of it, and they decided they want to do some shows on that. So that ended up being 4 shows. It's the first time which they haven't premiered yet. So we went to America a couple of times, and they came here. So suddenly all this work, which I've been nurturing for decades, was out in the world making a difference. I was a bit not shocked, but I sort of amazed how quickly things can change when you follow the flow. And so now we're just working on spreading the work further, reaching as many people as possible with it. In terms of with the software on the book, we're going to upgrade that hopefully this year to give automated readings to make it more accessible to people. Because people said to me, well, I've read it once and I've done my chart, but I don't want to have to do it again for 10 other people. Can I just press a button? So we'll have automated readings based upon the book, hopefully later this year, probably by the end of the year, to reach more people. And it's more affordable than having, a bit more expensive than the book, but it's going to be more affordable than seeing a practitioner who can give a live reading. So we're trying to reach a lot more people with it. So I'm going to talk about, who's just joined us here? Shweta, you can talk to us, Shweta, if you want, or you can, if you become a panelist, then you can switch the video on if you feel game enough, and you can chat to us as well. Okay, so that's how we got here, 20, 30 years on. So I feel that we are a custodian for the sacred knowledge to awaken humanity, because this work was used by the rabbis in the ancient biblical times to understand why people's lives were the way they were. And they would change people's names based upon this to help move their lives forward, which we do nowadays as well. And it was only brought back in the 80s, channelings from the Silver Moses to Frank Harper, when it was felt from the high dimensions it was time to awaken humanity to understand why it's really here. So I'm going to talk about the Star of David now. So this is for the guys who may not be so familiar with the work or watching it on the YouTube channel the first time. Okay, so the way this works is that we have 22 Hebrew sounds, and which we are going to decode the frequencies of, and there are 22 Hebrew numbers that go with it. We decode their frequencies using the star data. And this is a gateway of consciousness to come into the earth plane, because you've got to come in with a soul contract in order to be allowed in to actually experience the school of learning. And so there are two triangles here. There's a large downward pointing triangle, which represents the physical side of your life, because each of us has a brand new personality expression created by our soul contract. So we've never been here before, but our soul has. So we're brand new each lifetime. So we need to, for the physical triangle, need to learn to walk and talk, get conditioned responses, get up and running in life. And then careers, houses, relationships, all that sort of stuff. So we do that for the first 5 cycles of 7 years, first 35 years at least. And between the ages of 35 and 42, the 6th cycle or younger, the spiritual triangle becomes more predominant. It's running all the time, but it becomes more predominant. And some of us experience that as the midlife crisis, spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul. So that's where we switch from the physical orientation to opening to higher consciousness. And the soul's hoping you can build a spiritual triangle on the foundation of the physical triangle, and then deliver your gift of service or whatever your mission is. And within these triangles, we have 3 aspects. We have karma, physical karma in this case, physical talents, and physical goals. And then we have spiritual karma, spiritual talents, and spiritual goals. And over time this way, this percentage complete here. We work through this, okay? Someone trying to talk to me? I think it was Heidi. Oh no, you just your microphone's on. Okay, I'll just mute you guys just in case. Yeah. So if you work through consciously these 6 outer aspects based on your knowledge of the contract, what happens is that your soul destiny, the real life meaning of your life, starts to manifest here. Okay, so, and if you understand what the contract is, that means you can spend 80% of your effort on the 20% of things that matter in life. Whereas most humans spend do the opposite. They waste a lot of effort on things that don't matter because the ego mind thinks we should just do certain things, and most of the time it doesn't get it right, and people get stuck. All right. So I'll show you how this works for some of the guys. So is there anyone here who's not had their reading, their soul contract reading done? We'll do a little reading. Mary, are you?
I haven't.
You haven't. Okay. Do you want to be a guinea pig, Mary? Do you want to leave your mic on? Do you want to be a guinea pig and bare your soul to the world?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So we'll do a little taster reading for about 10-15 minutes, and we'll show you how it works.
Should I type in my name, my full name?
If you put it in the chat, it'll make it quicker for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need your birth certificate name.
Yeah.
So the Gomez and Fonseca, is it Gomez is Spanish, or is it pronounced the way it's written?
Yep.
And Fonseca, that's Italian, isn't it?
Both Spanish.
Okay. So how did your parents say it?
Fonseca.
And what about the Gomez?
Or Fonseca.
Okay. And the Gomez, how do they pronounce that?
Gomez.
Is it pretty much as it's written?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Can you say the Fonseca to me again so I can hear that?
Fonseca.
Okay. We're going to have to change this to Spanish. Might have to experiment with a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to put, this is a soul contract software, soulcontractreader.com. So it's still, the F means Fonseca, the way you've got it set up on your Zoom there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. I need to get my Spanish dictionary. Most of the time you don't need to do this, but because you've got a Spanish name, we'll do this. So we need to enter this in the equivalent written English as it's pronounced. So, okay. Look that up. I'm using my Spanish phonetic dictionary. So the Gomez is a Z or an S sound? Gomez?
Z. Yeah, Z sound.
Z, okay, so that's okay. It's Fonseca. It's Fonseca then. Where are your parents from originally?
We're all from Canada.
Yeah, but before that though, the Spanish.
Spain. It would have been
okay.
back to Spain.
Okay, so it's European Spanish. Okay. It's pretty close to as it's written, I think. Just going to check
Yeah.
this. Okay. Yeah. Let's adjust this a little bit. Okay. Yes, is that right? Yeah. That's European Spanish. Okay. We won't put your birth date in because it's a public video. You're okay with this happening. Date is 7th of February. This is European dates. Okay. So we'll just see if this works, okay? So
Sure.
might have to fiddle it a little bit. Okay. So speaking the truth is really important to you, Mary?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is life very intense emotionally at times?
Yep.
Okay. And do you get really frustrated sometimes and have a good temper?
No, not really.
No.
Not that I can
You don't get frustrated?
get frustrated. Yeah, but not a lot. No.
Okay. All right. Do you have lots of creative ideas?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots.
Okay. We're okay then. And
Yeah.
do you feel that part of you's hiding away from the world?
I would say so. I've probably been like that most of my life.
Yeah. Okay. We got the right name. It's okay.
Yeah.
Fine. All right. So I'll explain how this works. So what we've done is we've taken Mary's written English as it's pronounced to match the Spanish, converted it to Hebrew here. You can see some of this Hebrew sounds are double letters like this. And then we've extracted the Hebrew numbers inherent within the Hebrew. And we've allocated them in a clockwise spiral, starting here, like 13, 1, 20, 16, 3, 6, and we go gone on expanding spiral to use up all the numbers. Okay. And then we added the numbers up. For example, here, total is 20 for spiritual goals. So we have the frequency of a 20, and then we go 2 plus 0 equals 2. And we have a 2. Excuse me. So these are English numbers that are labels for Hebrew frequency. All right. So just because it's a 20 doesn't mean it's better than the 2, it's just a different frequency. Okay. And so in spiritual goals, you, Mary, have a range of expression you're here to work through. Okay. And you could be a blend of a 20 and a 2. You could be anywhere along that, okay, on a given day. And this is the truth number where you've got to tell the truth, or you can tell someone's not telling the truth. Okay. Here, the total is 41. So 4 plus 1 is 5. And 5 plus nothing is another 5. So we have one frequency of a 5, specific frequency rather than a whole range of frequency that you're working with. So you have these combination numbers, and we have what we call double number. So these ones here saying the soul saying, I want you to do something very specific in these numbers, but I'll give you more room to maneuver over here. That's what it's saying. So we take all these physical numbers, root all our numbers out in the same way, and we take the physical numbers, put them on the top half of this table, spiritual numbers on the bottom half. We added them up to get the 60 and the 33. So we have to reduce this, the first number between 1 and 22. 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus 3 is 6. So that 6 goes in the middle. That's all rest of them. And all these squiggly symbols were channeled by Frank, which are going to help me tune into what's going on for you. Okay, here and here. So, Mary, what's the main question you have about your life at this time? Would be my sort of gateway to talk about this briefly.
I guess just I have a very specific one of where I will be living, but this ties into kind of what's next for me.
What have you been doing up to now? Just give me a summary. And can I ask how old you are? I want to see where you are in the cycles here.
I'm 59.
Yeah.
I have been, I've been I guess a business owner for a large part of my life. I owned a manufacturing company, but in the last so many years, I've been a channeler and helping people.
Okay.
With their finding their path.
Yeah. Okay, and you want to know what's next?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so in physical karma, this is 5, the symbol of a fetus. Okay, and what it's all about is opening to the pure psychic energies of spirit, which is where your channeling comes from. So the very sensitive energy that opens to the abstract truth of spirit. And your job with this is to ground it on the earth plane and share that truth.
Right.
Although
right.
it probably got you in a lot of trouble as a kid, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're good at determining if someone's not telling you the truth.
Yes.
Very useful when running a business. Yeah. So what did you use to manufacture?
I designed children's wall decorations and I had them manufactured.
Yeah. So you're very artistic by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a creative part of you. It's called a convertible knot. So you're here to learn to ground and bring the truth of your spirit into the earth plane and to do pioneering work, cutting edge work. Otherwise you'll get bored. So you got to the latest stuff. This is why you're interested in this work, because this is about absolute truth, this work, which is what's drawn you to it. And the physical talents here are these 7s. This is called a link which unites. And so were you good at bringing together lots of people to run your business and synergizing them and making it all happen?
I wouldn't say good at bringing together, but really good at synergizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I love that. I love that.
This is the network energy. Do you have lots of parties at your house?
Not anymore, but I used to love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is about networking, connecting, being gregarious. So you're a networker. That's what this is all about. So you need to work with networks of people with pioneering knowledge. Okay.
Right.
That's what this is about. And it's because there's the same number here in this karma. This means that there's been a wounded heart from childhood. So can you share what happened there? Something early on, there's a wounded heart.
Yeah, I would say that was from my mother. Yeah, it was a difficult childhood, to say the least.
Yeah. So the inner child sort of went off and hid, didn't want to be seen, and she put out a facade, a mask.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay. And your job is to drop the mask, heal the wounded inner child, so she opens her heart, she shows her true feelings and thoughts to the world.
So I think what I've been doing my whole life, that's pretty much has been my path for a lot of years.
To become your authentic self, so you become one person.
Yeah.
Then everyone's magnetized to you to do that. Okay. and you came out of hiding. Do you feel you're out of hiding now?
I would say pretty close to be 100% out of hiding.
Yeah.
Getting there. Yeah.
Okay. Authenticity is key, and that will draw like-minded people to you for whatever the next step is. Okay. So opening the heart is key. You got it over here. You got 6 of them. So you're very much about being networking, working with groups of people. This could be networks physically or online.
Yeah. And I do that definitely.
Yeah. I was that with your channeling, is it?
Well, I did a lot of mediumship work online, networking, and I loved it.
Yeah.
That was teaching that and helping people with that.
Yeah. What's what you're meant to do? It's all about networking. This is the mediumship, psychic energy, sharing that truth. Okay. And so you said things were emotionally intense. What actually happens for you? It's a 14 energy here, which causes it.
What happens?
Yeah, the particular situations where it's particularly intense, or is it all situations?
I don't even know how to explain that. When you say that, I understand it, but I wouldn't know how to totally explain it to you.
Okay, I'll talk about it some more. So this is called reflective being, the 14 and physical goals. You're here to learn to find yourself through intense emotional relationships, where people mirror back to you things you haven't seen about yourself, multidimensionally, and vice versa. So you learn a lot.
Yes.
I relate, therefore I am, sort of your motto. That's what it's saying. You need this intensity, otherwise you don't know who you are.
I totally get that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the main thing is to have a break, so you don't burn out.
Yes, and I do take break.
Yeah.
I'm on a break right now.
All right.
Okay, I get that. That makes sense.
And in spiritual goals, this is the explorer. So do you try lots of different things on, Mary?
I have tried lots of different things on, yes.
Yeah.
I'd love to explore. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is having the emotional resiliency to explore spiritually all sorts of experiences in life to find out your truth.
Right. Yes.
Okay. And soul destiny is a 6, which is called a convertible knot. So this is your creativity. This is the basis of your business or your past business, where you can take an idea that's really resonant, true to you, and then expand it into a physical form and take it out to the world.
Right.
Okay. So it's about having the idea, focusing on its complete form, which you'd have to do to run a manufacturing business. And then step by step, make it happen. But the key with this is because this is actually a disconnect from the soul's creativity initially. So the ego sends out lots of creative ideas, which is why it may be difficult to focus sometimes, especially when you're younger.
Yeah.
And you basically got to pick one at a time and complete it.
Yeah, I'm not one of my greatest gifts.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. Yeah.
Then do the next one. So you got to ask yourself, am I my main priority today? And half the time you may find you are not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got one of these, so it used to really made it very difficult to get anything done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's something specific you're here to do with your creativity and all this networking energy and this truth, spiritual truth, psychic truth you're bringing through. Do you know what that is yet?
I wish I did. And maybe I do, but I can't see it yet. But I know it's there, and that's where my frustration comes in. When you talked about frustration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say it's about clearing. If you just work on clearing the issues which are still in your chart, all these guys here, and you reach out, it's about aiming to what we call reaching the threshold of soul integration, where you've cleared enough of the ego so the soul's more predominant, and then you'll start to get more clues on what that is. So you need to do your emotional work, Mary. Keep working on yourself, and then layers will come to you of the soul destiny. It won't come all at once.
Right.
Come in layers, and then you realize, now I see the picture. So things may start to change. Now you're aware that's what you need to do. Just focus on getting clarity. Don't focus on, I haven't got it. Just focus on, I need clarity to get the next piece of this mission. It will come.
Right.
Because the ego needs to be peeled and clean up
Yeah.
enough so that you're ready to cope with whatever is going to be delivered from on high.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I've been doing it, been helping others with that. It's a constant thing.
Yeah, that's the key. Because the contract here is there's not a time element in like astrology or anything. It's basically latent potential of what you could become, and you may make some, a lot, or complete progress in a given lifetime, depending on how you work with it.
Right.
And the soul's hoping you work through all these things, but it should be a lot easier now because you now know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
cuts out all the uncertainty, thinking, is that really happening or not? What's really going on?
Right.
Yeah. Am I going mad? I'm thinking that I'm doing this. Okay. And so if you just listen to this a few times and follow that flow, things will gradually unfold because there's more certainty now because you've seen it in black and white. This is all in your name.
Right.
How it
Right.
actually works. Okay. So
Yes, thank
definitely,
you.
yeah, definitely networking, truth, exploration. Bring yourself more self-awareness to people, I'd say, is 14.
Yeah, that's huge. That's big. And I understand that fully, that is what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I guess it's just kind of honing exactly how I'm doing that, which
Yeah.
is what I'm working on now. And I've been able to concentrate on that because I'm all over the place usually. There's always so many things to look at and like back up to the spiritual goals, try on and yeah. So it's like focusing on one thing has been not easy.
Yeah. Well, this is the whole point. The whole life's about learning to focus on the most important thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Hope that's helped.
Yeah. So having all of these like doubles, 776655 there's a lot of them. What does that exactly?
It means there's a predominance of these frequencies the soul wants you to work in. You've got 6 sevens, which is a lot. But it also means with these frequencies, it's a little rigid, the chart in those areas. Like the soul just wants you to do this only. That's the experience it wants you to have. Okay.
Which seems to be networking or doing it with a group rather than solo.
No, you're definitely meant to work in a team, Mary. There's actually a whole team.
Okay.
So
Okay.
be open to the team turning up because you can't.
Okay.
You could do maybe 20% of this by yourself. But the 80% will come because the team is going to turn up. Now you know about the team.
That makes total sense right now because I always felt having to do this work almost alone, and it's been very difficult.
Well,
because
you can't do it by yourself, this sort of stuff. Yeah. So you find people who are talented in what they love to do. You do what you do, which I think is producing the content and magnetizing people, and other people help you put it all together.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Anyone got any questions about that? Either switch your mics on, anyone? No one got any questions?
Hi, Nicolas. Yeah, I do have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Chantal.
Yeah, go for it.
When you were translating Mary's name to Hebrew, then it made me confused because I also have a Spanish, both my last names are in Spanish. Now I'm wondering if I've done my chart wrong.
The written form of Spanish is still accurate because the power of the written word is very strong, but it's more at the personality level we discovered. So really we should read 2 charts in your case, Mary, but I read you the soul one here. Okay. So
okay. So would it also be done the way my name is spelled also?
You could also do another chart with the way it's spelled.
Okay.
All right. So the Spanish names, you want to look at the phonetic version. Okay. All right. Oh, you've got to go, Mary. Okay. Thanks, Mary.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. So for the Spanish version of the name, the phonetic sound, that's more the spiritual soul level. It's a higher level interpretation, the way we read it. Okay. All right. I didn't want to get into this here, but seeing we had a Spanish name, we'll get into it. So basically, you got to read both charts.
Thank you.
Very spiritual and a personality. When you put them both together, it explains everything. That's something we discovered recently about this. Okay, so that's how you got to do both.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a, if you came for a reading, we do the Spanish, or we have a name assistance service if you want the Spanish version. So you can't just guess. There's a specific way of doing this that matches to the written English as it's pronounced, okay? Otherwise you'll get the wrong name. Okay. All right, any other questions? Anyone?
Can I just ask about, because I changed my name at 40 to Avia.
Yeah.
And I just, all my life from a child, I didn't connect with my original birth name.
Well, it's probably because the challenge was quite strong, Avia, and the process of changing the name puts a new set of frequencies into the matrix. So it can help you or hinder you. And we have a process called name optimization where we optimize it to work through the karma and the goals, help you bring your mission online. But you'd have to have a proper reading to understand exactly what it meant. Okay, it's sort of more complex. But yeah,
Okay, I'll come back to you another time then.
Yeah, we better explain what it's doing, and some bits may help you, some may not be so helpful. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Oh, okay, I'll move on to the next bit. Okay, so thanks, how are you? Share the screen again, it will come up.
Nicholas.
Who's that?
This is Andy.
Andy, yeah. Yes, camera's dropped a bit. The camera's dropped a bit.
Oh, I sat down. Normally I'm standing up, but
Okay.
What's the commonality of the readings? My head's always numbers, so I always look at numbers and things like that. So we have billions of souls out there. I'm guessing, obviously I may not know that, but I'm assuming we have billions of souls out there as we have billions of people. And the earth is not the only plane, obviously. So what is the commonality of the readings for people?
What do you mean by commonality? Can you
how many people are similar?
Unless they have exactly the same name, they're all unique. But even someone who has exactly the same name, like a John Smith with no middle name, it's also the way their life's created depends on their past lives, the astrology, where they were born on the earth, the culture. They all probably have very similar themes, but in doing thousands of readings, there's never been one name repeating itself. So every person is unique. And the permutations are infinite with this thing. And the soul chooses a specific name, culture, family, excuse me, time zone to have a unique experience. So it's already chosen a name based upon its past life experience. It looks at all its past lives and says, what will be the optimal set of frequencies to create the next lifetime for me to grow? Okay.
So how did those distinct points, like where they were born, how does that all come into your soul reading chart? I don't remember filling out that information when I had my reading.
Well, I'm just adding the extra bits in. So say you had about 10 John Smiths with no middle names. The difference will be because of astrologically, where you were born, the parental family environment, the culture, they'll have an influence.
Okay, thank you.
But otherwise, the general underlying themes will be the same. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
All right, so let's do the next bit. It's a good question. Right. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to the next slide. Okay. All right. So does anyone have any burning questions about the book, having read it? Normally we don't leave time for that, but at this time we're going to. Put it in the chat. Avia, you got another question?
I believe she just did not remove the raised hand.
Oh, okay.
I have a question that Andy, you just made me think of in that question. But so when you're saying that, I've never thought of this before, but with places like, say, like the state or the country, town, anything that you decide to incarnate into, does that name of that place have a frequency as well that you choose, or is that different?
Yes, it does. It does. And the first line of your address has an influence. The astrology at the time you were born, where the lines of the planets are on Earth at the time you were born, has a direct influence on you for the rest of your life. So they all have an impact.
Interesting.
And the names of those around you, close relationships, have a significant impact because you've chosen all those people.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on.
So like just all of my family's names start with J.
Yeah, you chose them all and you all agreed to have this experience, Joanna.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I just hadn't thought about it in terms of
Oh yeah, and families will
names.
follow, families will follow specific repeating patterns, like having all the J's. Okay. Through
Right.
many generations. I had one practitioner, she went back 5 generations in England, and she said every second generation the same numbers appeared in the family. So
Yeah, how interesting.
They're experimenting. So a family line will work through specific themes over many lifetimes because the soul group wants to learn from that.
Yeah, because when I was doing my reading, there was a piece in there that I was reading, and I can't exactly remember what the frequency was, but it was I think it was the physical or spiritual karma. And when I was reading it, like my mind went directly to my dad, and he is also a J. It's James Moore, so it's similar, but it was interesting. Yeah, so that makes sense. So that we had like a similar karmic lesson.
Oh yeah, if he doesn't sort it out, you'll have to sort it out.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, coming down the line. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Sweeta has asked a question. She said, what does it mean when you have the same numbers on your chart? Like I have a 5 for physical and spiritual talents, 5 for soul destiny, and 5 is my dominant vibration. Okay. What it means is that that's a primary theme of speaking truth and overcoming suppression of that truth. Shweta, that's what it means. And the dominant vibration is a set of dominant vibration, which is where you have 4 more of the same numbers, is a theme. And there are 22 channelings from God called the Word in the book. And if you read out the Word, it's a reminder of why you were born, why you came to Earth. Very powerful. Most people cry when they read it, what's read to them in a reading. Okay, so I'd say you're very much here to be a truth sayer, okay, to be a psychic, be a pioneer. You'd be really good at that. And yeah, it's about, you don't come here very often by looks at physical karma 8. You don't come here very often, but very much about communication of truth, Sweeta, and overcoming suppression that you've been through from the family. Okay. All right. Ave, you're going to ask me another question. You've got your mic on.
I wanted to know a little bit more about location. How do you, because you're saying in there, you should look if you're thinking of moving, like Johnson's now in Mexico.
Yeah.
Or whether he would come back here, or whether Chantal would come to England, and the effect that has on your soul contract.
Yeah, you need to have an astrocartography reading where they look, as I said, they look at the lines of the planets, where they are on the Earth at the time you're born. And for Jonty and Chantal, you need to do a chart with both of your lines on there to find out the best places on Earth for you to live. I will post in the description of a YouTube video my astrocartographer. He's in Canada. He's very good. He'll be able to answer that question. That's sort of outside my body of knowledge, but we use that because this location question is asked a lot by light workers. And if you live in the optimal places on Earth where the lines of the planets at the time you're born will support your mission your life will be completely different. It will unfold. If you live in the wrong places, then your life will be much harder because you don't have the astrological support. Okay.
Can I also ask about bringing in, I mean, to choose to have children? I mean, some of us do it by mistake, some of us do it through choice or whatever. But if you really want to bring in a child into this world now, can you affect who it is by the name that you give then? Is it something you should be conscious of?
Well, you don't give them the name. They have already chosen the name and they tell you telepathically what the name is, which is why there's only 2 or 3 names that a child can be called, because the soul blanks the rest out and looking online or looking in the baby book. So it's just about the parents be getting out of their own way, the ego's getting out of their own way and tuning into what the child wants to be called and feeling what's right. Okay.
Thank you.
We do baby naming as part of the process as well. Okay. To make sure that the name is optimal, so it creates a family dynamic where each person in the family, each person in the family has a role, an energetic role. And so the idea is to create a harmonious set of energies. Say this is a new child here. So the interactions with the parents are harmonious and everyone learns and grows from it because it's all planned by the soul. So getting the name right is very important for a child. Okay. Okay, Heidi said here, what name is needed for the reading in my case? The name my parents wanted to give me was Heidi, but the socialist country I was born in didn't allow abbreviations in the official birth certificate, so they put down Heidrun, but called me Heidi. So your soul designed this, Heidi. The birth certificate name is like the cake of your life, a big cake. And your soul knew being born in a socialist country is the limitation of what you can have. And so if you were called Heidi from the beginning, this is like a big layer of icing on the cake. This is the Heidi frequency, this is the Heidrun frequency. And it's infusing in the 7 aspects. The Heidi frequency is infusing into the Heidrun frequency, like that. And that is giving you the experience you need. It's helping you overcome what the Heidrun frequency carries. But this in total will expand your life. So you need to do a reading on the birth certificate name and the name your parents commonly called you from birth, which is almost like a second birth certificate name, simply because they did it from the beginning, because that was their intention. I hope that helps. So it's not one or the other, it's actually both you need to look at. Okay. All right. Okay, some good questions here. Any other good questions? Making me think. Maria, late in the day to think. Keep going.
I just suddenly remembered that if officially I was given 3 first name at my birth, but my dad, when he went to the office to register my birth certificate, he somehow didn't, and so he only registered Maria.
Okay, so well then you at a soul level probably interfered with that, wanting just something simpler. Okay, because it means your parents had missed the boat, they hadn't quite got it right, what you wanted. So usually 90% of the time you get the right name. So even little accidents like misspellings or names missed out are deliberately set up by the soul.
That's what I thought.
I know it's very rare to find someone their name doesn't work, but they do happen occasionally. Okay, they do happen occasionally.
Yeah, and my chart does resonate with me in the written version of it, both.
Yeah, but you might want to check out the other name and see what that's like.
Exactly.
I think there'd be some very interesting pieces of information in there for you. Maybe it's going to tell you what's happening next.
Exactly. I think I need to do the phonetics course first because that's what's been stopping me.
Yeah, well, I think that'll be fascinating. You may find you go, thank God I didn't take that name. May not turn out to be not so good. Because of the frequencies. Yeah. All right.
Great idea. Thank you.
Any other questions on the book or the system? put in the chat or wave at me. No? Okay. All right. So, any questions about the spiritual philosophy behind the book? It's an ascension philosophy. It's about the rising in consciousness. Anyone want to ask any of those? Because this is really a school of learning here. And we come here and we choose our names. We come here between 48 to 72 times. And we progressively, through many lifetimes here, learn specific themes. We work through them on Earth. And the number of times we come depends on how long it takes us to learn those lessons before we go off to some other planet. Every planet has a different set of frequencies and energies and experiences. Earth is a particularly intense place because the range of emotions that humans have is much greater than the average planet. So it's highly valued for that strong range of emotions, because when we're embodied in our Earth suits, the intensity of the emotion and the range of it imprints on our soul very strongly. We learn fastest by being in the body. Even though some of you may think, God, I don't want to do that again. But it just sort of seems to be the way it works. Okay. All right. Right. So any other questions on that, maybe? No? Okay. So so for those of you who've got your charts, or you can do your chart on your computer or your phone, okay, I'm going to go through the 22 numbers and explain what they mean. In both the talent position, if you want to learn a bit more about your chart, and in the karmic or goal position. The karma and goals are very similar. So what I'm going to do, so pull your chart out if you've already got it, or generate it now. Soulcontractreader.com. Give you a minute to do that. Chantal, yours will be just fine as it's written in Spanish. You'll learn a lot. So, okay. Just going to find. Okay, these are the symbols. This is a symbol for a 1, and this frequency is quite strong. Okay. It's going to be some things around here. So even though the book is very thick, I'm going to talk about the essence of the numbers so you can get some idea for your chart what's actually going on. So this stuff's in the book. So if you have a 1 in talents, this is about unity, power, and stability. This has been very stable and powerful in the divine masculine. If it is in karma or goals, this is either physical or spiritual in most cases. The karmic lessons are about, goals is a detuned form of the karma, but the lessons are about overcoming misuse of powers from past lives and avoidance of spiritual growth. It's about learning the proper use of power. You're trying to go from this state to this state. Okay. If you have a 2, just going to bring my 2 up. Just going to swing it around. There's a little emotional spring. Whoops. This guy is effectively moving up and down like this. It's taking the emotional load on it you carry in life and supporting you. So if it loads up, it'll bounce back eventually on that load. This is about talents, having emotional resiliency and objectivity. You can see from great height from the top of the spring the truth of what's going on. However, if it's in karma or goals, you lack a resiliency, so you're not very good with emotional shock, and you're experiencing the lessons of foolishness to wisdom. And that means that as the spring moves up and down, you're sitting on top of the spring and it's moving up and down, means your perception of the situation is changing depending where you are in the movement. And if you are lower on the spring, and it's moving, you're not seeing the truth because your perception is changing. And if you act then, you'll make a foolish decision. So the idea is to get to the top of the spring, where it stays still for a while and everything looks very consistent, it's unchanging, and then you'll make a wise decision because you're seeing objectively what's really going on here. Okay. So it's a very impulsive. So if you got the two and you're very impulsive, it's probably got you in a lot of trouble, but you've earned wisdom from it. So the lesson is not to act impulsively or say anything impulsive, because it'll be fatal, but you'll learn. This is the internal canal. This is about communicating deep soul wisdom into the outer world. Okay. In a talent position. So if you have these, you're a communicator, teacher, performer. If it is in karma or goals, you have a big plug of unworthiness here. And so that's blocking you communicating. So you may feel very shy. You want to hide away from the world. And all these things that in karma and goals are only there for you to overcome. They're not here to defeat you, even though on a bad day, it may feel like that. Okay. Fours and talents. Fours are all about duplication, sharing. So it's about taking one element here of the flow of nature that comes to you, love, ideas, money, and duplicating it, creating another one, and sharing it with the world. And as you share what comes to you from the flow of nature, more will come to you. And it's learning to feel trust and be worthy to receive this flow. Okay. So in karma and goals, there will be a lack of trust in the flow, the feeling that nothing is going to come. It's empty. Five. So this could be a swan. That's swan mode there. And this is like an abstract fetus here. This is truth and intuition, as we were describing earlier. Connecting to spirit. But if it's in karma or goals, you're going to have a lack of fear of speaking the truth because of past life persecution, misuse of the power of the word, power of your voice. Okay, it's learning to move from that to speaking truth and trusting your intuition. But 6, how convertible not. This here is all about taking that idea, as I said earlier, and turning it into a manifest form. So it's creativity and focus. If it's in karma or goals, it's a lack of focus. And we were talking all about that with Mary earlier. This is the link which unites, which is the 7. I explained that earlier. Opening the heart, being objective, taking action. If it's in karma or goals, you can be in dreamland, because if the heart is wounded or broken and you're not prepared to heal it fully, you have to make a decision. Shall I show my real self or not? And because you can't show your real self, you haven't seen or acknowledged your real self, it's hard to tell what's real about anyone else. So you can be in an illusion, or dreamland, we call it. So everyone you perceive is not who they actually truly are. Just learning to see what's really true about somebody. 8 is our amoeba, and this is about and talents, about being grounded and connected to the world and society. If it's in karma or goals, you have to learn to create emotional boundaries with the world. Learn not to get over involved in other people's emotional issues over here. Okay. 9 is our dragon. Very Chinese, Asian. This is great power. So someone who's very powerful, catalytic, who can trust spirit. If it's in karma, there's a resistance to that power. If it's in karma or goals, it's resistance to power. They may feel like victims. It's like life's done stuff to them. and they have no boundaries, and because this in karma goals rules a lot of abuse, mental and emotional and physical abuse. And if you can overcome that, you can become very powerful, make a big difference in the world. It catalyzes others to wake up. The 10-1, this is the 10. This is the abstract flow of Mother, Father, God energy, divine feminine and masculine coming to the earth plane in curves to serve and to opening a channel to God. It's very powerful spiritual energy and talents, but if it's in karma or goals, this is the denial of God, denial of spirituality, misuse of power, spiritual power. 11 in talents is about being able to assimilate all sorts of ideas and concepts into your own unique structural spiritual truth, throwing out stuff that doesn't resonate. But if it's in karma or goal, it means you lack structure, you feel lost about life. It takes a long time to learn new things. Okay. It has the polarity energy of life and death. So it could be a lot of near-death experiences yourself, or a lot of people around you die, to catalyze, to break your structure so you build a new one.
So Nicholas, if you have 11, take example, in both talents and goals, what does that mean?
Are they adjacent to each other?
They are adjacent to each other.
Yeah, it means that the 11 in talents will become the goals, so less of the negative stuff will happen. Okay, so if numbers are next to each other, it's much more helpful. So you get some of the experience, but not the extreme experience of the number.
So when you mean next to each other, I have the spiritual talents. I have an 11. Well, I have 11 and 2 in spiritual talents, 11 and 2 in physical goals.
Well, in that case, they're separate. You can't mix the physical and spiritual parts of the chart. They have no impact on each other.
So what does it mean to have 11 in both of them?
Well, it depends on the rest of your chart. But basically,
all right, cool.
Basically,
No
what do you do for work, Andy? What have you been doing?
What I have been doing and still do is information technology work.
So do you build systems?
I have built and supported for the last probably 15 years. I've been teaching information systems, networking things within information systems, but I still build things on those systems as well.
Yeah, well, the 11 is about you building stuff. Okay, I think you're fascinated by building new stuff, aren't you?
Oh, I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I build it better? So yeah, this is what this is about.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Okay. So 12 is about the absorption and talents and expansion of knowledge, taking it to a higher form. And it's very loving as well. But if it's in karma or goals, it means that you are expanding in an unbalanced way. Parts of this go out too quick. Other parts don't go out at all. Obstacles turn up. This is people who are very busy, have too much on, big to-do lists. 13 is the divine feminine aspect of God. And it's her unconditional love. If it's in karma or goals, there's a blockage to the flow of the feminine. The heart. So the energy is the opposite. It's very self-indulgent, neglects the needs of others. 14 is what we had for Mary. This is reflective being, intensity. And if it's in karma or goals, it's about learning to learning self-acceptance, learning to accept who you truly are. Okay, they can be quite stubborn. They can use other people. 15 is in a circular movement. This is the ability to feel God within. Your symbolic stomach. If it's in a karma or goals, it's about being insecure, going around in circles, trying on lots of different things in life to find out what's right, what actually the right place to be. So these people often don't find their careers till their 40s. They're trying stuff on, they're feeling insecure, and they just want to move on to something else. And it's only when they get to one point where they feel settled and happy, then they'll be doing the right thing. So it's a different journey. Yet they should literally feel their way to the right purpose in life. 16. In talents is about the ability to bring spiritual energies to the earth plane. So the earth plane here, and express them in plain English to people. But if it's in karma or goals, it means that they refuse to accept their spirituality. There's resistance here. They don't want to come in. "17 is like a abstract mouth of God. In talents, it's about expression in society. But if it's in karma or goals, even can be very strongly suppressed emotional expression. They cannot relate to others. And the idea obviously is to move to the positive expression of it. 18 in talents is about the ability from lots of different experiences in many lives to come to a point where you're going to make a decision either to follow the path of God or follow the path of the ego. In this case, I'll be following the path of God. If it's in karma or goals, it means you come to this point and you can't make that decision. You can't choose to follow spirit or not. You procrastinate, you get stuck. Okay? Because you're looking at past decisions, realizing I should have done something else. Because this is learning about, you got to make the best decision you can with the information and time you've got and learn to live with it. 19 in talents is about bringing lots of spiritual energies to the earth plane and creating a physical form out of it, like a center, to help others learn about and achieve their goals. If it's in karma, it means you're unable to create the space. You get over involved in all the physical energies out here. Okay, and you have to learn to move away from that, to connect to the spiritual energies trying to come in. "20 is movement. We've seen this before, great waving movement. So the ability to explore, like Mary could. It's in karma or goals, it's basically where there's a rigid belief system which won't move. And there's also the polarity of war and peace, emotional internal war, which leads to external war with others in the world. And this is also about people who often in karma, it's about being raised in the Catholic tradition and then to escape that. 21 is the divine mother energy, different to the divine feminine. And this is about learning to endure and overcome great hardship, build great strength inside, which the divine mother carries. Okay, so if it's in karma or goals, and if it's in talent, it has the ability to endure and overcome hardship. It's one of the tougher ones. And the 22, the final one in talents, is completion, the blending of mind, body, and soul in the circle of God. Source. So this is someone who has access to source, can bring through whatever's needed in completion. And if it's in karma or goals, it's the strongest karmic energy, simply because of the disconnect from source. So on a bad day, this person can feel there is no God. Most of us just feel abandoned and disconnected from God. Some of the time, they feel really disconnected. It's very disturbing energetically. Okay. Any questions on those? Does that give you a feel for some of your charts? No questions?
Well, I've noticed that both Jyotish and I have the same spiritual talents. Is that?
That's probably what brought you together in relationships. We have a commonality of frequencies, a resonance. Like you have a sense that this person just knows me, because things are unsaid, because it's just a given, because you've got the same frequencies. Okay. So you will attract like-minded people, like people with similar energy in partnerships. It's normal. Okay, gives you something useful to talk about.
Thank you.
Any other questions or anything?
So when you have the same, like I have 4-4 for both my spiritual goal and spiritual karma.
Yeah.
What is that? How does that work together?
It means that you've got a lot of trust stuff to work on, Joanna.
Yeah. Okay.
The soul's trying to make a point and say, please pay attention to this. So I'm gonna give it to you twice.
Yeah.
That's why stuff turns up. Does it sound about right?
Yeah, it's very powerful. It's a huge one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then can you use does your spiritual talent then assist with working through those?
What is your spiritual talent?
8.
Well, that'll help you feel the lack of trust in the body. Okay,
Okay.
the interactions between numbers, you have to look at each one. You have to know the numbers pretty well by themselves to see the impact. But an 8 is about grounding you to feel the flow of nature.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Maria.
I just can't stop looking at my 21-3 in spiritual karma. And I wonder, because it's spiritual, would be creating hardships for me on the spiritual level more?
Probably, but it may be spilling over into the physical,
Mm.
like your house being cold.
Exactly, I know.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's affecting my destiny, like my 12-3 and my work.
Yeah. You probably want to optimize that name, Maria, and get out of the house.
I think so, because I've been trying to get out of here for a year and I love it, but
You need a 9 in spiritual talents to burn through, a very powerful catalytic energy to burn through that hardship.
I've got 9 and 8 and 9 in spiritual talent.
Okay.
I have it. If I'm looking at my written version, then I've got 9 in spiritual talent. And in the phonetic one, I have.
There's probably something binding you to the house diva that's got you stuck.
It's past lives and
You've got to clear that, I think, to get out of that house.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Okay. Avia, you're going to ask me a question? Your mic's on.
Yes, I was. I'm still confused a little bit over, for example, with spiritual talent. If you've got 18 and you add 1 and 8 and you get 9, are you looking at both 18 and 9? Or you said earlier that you're looking at the whole range.
You're basically combining the interpretations of both. Yes. Yeah, you have to read them both together when you're reading the talent.
Right, okay. You don't have to look at 9, 10, 11, 12 up to 18. You're not.
No. Just think of 18 and 9 as labels for Hebrew frequency. It's
okay.
Nothing to do with mathematics.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else got any questions? Sorry, we keep moving forward. No? Okay, keep going. Right. Just going to close one of these Excel windows. Okay. So if you want to go deeper into the system here, you can, for those of you who haven't got the book, you can find out more about it at www.yoursoulcontractdecoded.com. If you're interested, if you've got the book and you want to go deeper, there are readings at soulcontractreadings.com. We can match you up to be with me. I don't do many readings anymore. I only teach, or as if we've got room, or we can match you up to a compatible practitioner. You want to go really deep in there and ask a lot of questions, because there's only so much you can do with a book. I did as much as I could. If you want to go deeper into the work, we have a training, soulcontractreadingtraining.com, where you can learn about, well, the book is based upon the manual, subset of the manual. You can learn actually how to hold space and deliver readings. And that training is basically where we activate you in the first 3 days into the frequencies of the 22 numbers by looking at each person in the class as we pick off specific aspects of their charts and they talk about how it is. So you feel viscerally what the number really does. We don't read out the manual. We just get them to talk about their life with that particular number, and you never forget that. It's very powerful. Then you spend 2 days, the remaining 2 days, practicing giving readings if you want to help others wake up with this work. So we're running one in Asia Pacific. That's from India to New Zealand, 10th to 14th of March. It's a different time. In Western Hemisphere is California, across to the Eastern Bloc in Europe. And these 2 days it's split because the California mothers said to me, can you make it over 2 weekends so we don't have to get up 5 days in a row too early? So we've done that. We've done that for them. So that's the way to learn it if you want to go deeper. Even some people just come because they want to know more about the system. Okay, so you get fully activated into it if that's of interest. Okay. Any final questions before we finish? We'll put it in the chat.
I do have one question more about kind of the soul destiny, because they don't necessarily fall into like the karmic talent or goal. Is it sort of like an accumulation of all three, or how do you look at it in that in terms of that?
Soul destiny, Joanna, is like karma initially, until you work through all the other 6 aspects. And if you work through all the other 6 aspects, it becomes the positive quality, positive talent qualities of that number, plus the specific soul destiny in the book. Okay, which will take you to. So it's like a barometer for your progress. What is your soul destiny, by the way?
12-3.
Okay, so balance and worthiness and communication are big stuff for you.
Yeah, definitely.
How's that going?
The worthiness is a big one.
Yeah. So what you want to work on there is anything that created the unworthiness. It's usually disempowerment from 9s, 10 1s, 5s. You know, a moment your mother forgot to do something for you and you took it badly as a 1-year-old. So work on all that stuff, and that's how you overcome it.
Okay. Yeah. I have the 10, 1, and 5s too. Yeah.
Okay. So anything that suppressed your truth as 5s, anything that disempowered you with the 10, 1, especially with men. Okay, or your father. Or brothers, or any male figure. Work on those, then you'll feel more worthy, then your life will open up more.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else on chat or on voice?
I was just wondering, I have this recurring theme throughout my chart about manifestation of God and feeling God within, and I was just wondering what is it trying to tell me? What is it?
So what are the numbers, Chantal? Just tell me the numbers.
15 in my physical talent, 15-6, and 10 in my spiritual talents, 10-1.
Well, there's 2 things to do. The 15-6 is about feeling what is the right thing for you to do. So you've got to go and try on a whole bunch of stuff in life, commit enough time, energy, and money to see if it's right, but leave an exit strategy. So, because you know now that you could leave it. Okay. So find out the right thing to do. And the 10-1 is about putting you to meditate a lot and heal whatever emotional separation you've got left to open to God. That's just really opening to God consciousness, because that will guide you on this mission once you get clear what it is with the 15-6 physical talents.
And then that would help me to achieve my soul destiny.
You have to work on all the 4 other aspects: the physical karma, physical goals, spiritual karma, spiritual goals. You've got to work on all 6 outer aspects to get to the soul destiny. No mean feat in one lifetime. Often we come back with the same chart multiple times. But now you know what it's about, you'll probably make a lot more progress. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other ones? Oh. Okay, Shweta has said to me, we have to clear karma and goals first to get to the talents. No, you can work on them all at once. But usually, Shweta, the karma, physical and spiritual karma, will be in your face initially, strong, to get your attention. So you've got to work on all 6 aspects simultaneously, but the soul will basically be triggering only a few of them at once. Okay? And that might go on for days, weeks, or months, or years. Then you'll notice once you work on enough of it, it switches to something else. You just focus on the issue. Just switch my camera on and off to get the focus back. What focus is playing out. Work on whatever's presenting, Shweta, and then you'll be fine. Okay, so they all run at once, just different emphasis depending on the day. Okay. Oh, you just made a comment there, Maria. Okay. Any other questions? All okay on that? All right. There's another one. Just a comment from Joanne. Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming and engaging with us. Got some good questions, and we'll have the video out. What's today? Probably later this week. Got to process it and get it loaded on YouTube. And I'll put in the description some of the things we talked about as well. Okay. I'll put the Astrocartographer. You definitely want that. Okay. And hope that helped. Raise consciousness a bit more, help your lives move forward, which is what it's all about. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Charlotte, do you want to stay there? Okay. If you guys just.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Andy?
Thank you, Nicholas.
Okay. Thank you.
Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, if you guys just leave the meeting or on the bottom right, because we're going to stay on for a little longer. Okay. Take care.
Thank you.